Hello, so here we are. This is part 2 of mine and Tony's trip to Wales. This is actually day 1. I split it into 2 kind of videos, and that's because on day 1 of the video you might have seen, we went around the Claerwen Dam, and today we're going to go up this way, up through the Devil's Staircase, which is a lovely ride. It's a very narrow road. You start off by going up and up and up and up, and then here we are coming back down. It's a little bit alpine. There's quite a few kind of tight corners on it. It's only taking his time here, of course, because we can't see round the corners. Same here. We'll make sure nobody's coming the other way, because that would end your day pretty badly if you ran into the front of them. But as you come down here, though, this it starts to open up, and you'll see in a minute it kind of comes into the bottom of the valley, and then it's surrounded by mountains on both sides, and it's a really lovely ride. We got perfect weather for it. I mean, this was like start of September. It rained a little bit at the start of the day, and there's a few puddles you can see as we're going through there. But the skies came out, the sun came out, it was lovely. The clouds kind of pushed off. Sadly, my camera's not particularly great, so the skies look white, but trust me, later on you'll see the definitely blue. And this bit's great, honestly. It's a little windy road. It's the kind of road, if you love motorbikes, you'll absolutely love. Maps on the start of the video. Please go and have a look, and I would highly recommend this. We're coming down it because like I said, we came around Claerwen. We're coming around this way, and you can see it starts off kind of nice and low in the bottom of the valley, and then as it goes further down, it climbs up onto the top, and you're kind of looking down into the valley. Still got to keep an eye out for sheep, because they are out there. This is Wales, don't forget. And of course, keep your eyes out for other motorbikes, and if you do see another motorbike, to leave them a little nod. In fact, there's one thing in this video you're going to see. There's quite a lot of nodding, I'm afraid. So anytime there's a bike goes past, especially if there's like 4 or 5, I end up nodding at everyone. I'm sure there's like an etiquette to nodding at bikes, and I'm damned if I know what it is. But here we go. So again, you can see really kind of windy. Once you go into like the bits here, you can kind of see quite a long way, but there's still 1 or 2 corners where you can't really see around it, and it's kind of can be a little bit hairy at times. But we're not going quick. We're taking this time. We're looking at the scenery. We're watching the sheep. And as you get down to the bottom end, and this is kind of interesting. It's the same kind of terrain, but the trees kind of come in, and suddenly you're riding through bits of forest. And again, that limits your visibility. But oh, the smell here, lovely smell. Ferns and trees, fresh air. Unfortunately, not that fresh behind Tony's motorbike because of his stupidly asbo loud exhaust. But broadly, you can still be out in the countryside, and you kind of feel connected to it. So we rode down that, and I'm going to skip a bit now. So we basically went into Byway for lunch. We had a lovely bit of dinner there, a little bit of scenery. You park your bike in the middle of the road, and the next bit is we went from Ryder to Elan Valley. Now this is a lovely ride again. So it basically takes you down the Elan Valley, and there's a series of reservoirs. I think they provide water to Birmingham randomly from Wales. But you kind of ride along this, and it kind of dips along the valley, and again you can see it's kind of nice at the bottom, lots of trees, and then you start to come back up and you're going around the edge of the different reservoirs, and again some beautiful scene here. Careful again, roads aren't massively tight. There you go, nodded at the bike, got a nod at the bikes, but you can see, look, you're running along the line from here, you can see the kind of reservoir to his left. The sun's out again, got to keep an eye on the cars coming the other way. But look at the reflection, you can tell it's a nice day. That's it. One, give them a nod, give them a nod, give them a nod. Not many of them nodded back though, did they? It's got to be said. And this is where it kind of gets interesting. So you come down here, if you carry on straight, I think it takes you off towards Aberystwyth, but you don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to take a left here off the top of this kind of viaduct. And you'll see why in a bit, but this basically takes it down towards the Claerwen Reservoir. And again, this is a lovely little quiet road you can kind of go along. We're stuck behind his car, but thankfully he took pity on us and pulled over because he was doing about 12 miles an hour. And at that point, me and Tony kind of got a chance to open it up a little bit. We're on Himalayans, we're not going crazy. But you can see we've got a bit more of a pace now. And again, another Return of the Jedi moment for us. Up through the trees, and you kind of wind up, and you kind of climb and climb and climb, and you're getting higher all the time. And you'll see it opens out again. You've got kind of rivers down to your side, and again, look at it. You can see the sky's definitely blue at this point. See, I told you. Surprisingly for Wales, it normally rains when I go. but not this week. We managed to pull it off with a bit of style. But yeah, you ride up here, and then basically there's a point where the road splits, and you want to take a right here to go up to the kind of down viewpoint. And again, it's a nice little ride up here, and you're still climbing. You can feel the air getting thin. You know, make sure you've had your breakfast before you do this one. And again, it kind of comes around the corner. Look at it, it's lovely, just rocks and the views on one side, and then here you can see this is the actual dam. I was actually quite surprised. There were quite a lot of people up here, so you know, there's people parked up. You know, people like to go up and take a look. There's actually an off-road route apparently off to your left. While we were here, we bumped into a couple of bikers, and they were kind of telling us about it. But that's okay, because we'd come to go a particular way, and you're going to see that bit next. But yeah, we stopped here to have a look, take a couple of photos. You know, obligatory, here's my bike in the wilderness. And that was a look down at the bottom from the top of the dam. And then this is the bit we come for. So this is the, there's a byway which runs up the side of Claerwen Reservoir. Now it's byway most of the way. Just to warn you, there's a section, and you'll see it when we get to the bridge, which is not actually a byway, it's private land. But if you get in touch with the Elan Valley Trust, which I did, you can actually ask for permission to go through, and in our case they actually sent us approval. So we go all the way through. We were allowed, but I would suggest that if you haven't got approval, please don't, because you don't want to upset people and stop other people going through in the future. But this is this again, this I wanted to do this. This is one of the things I wanted to do on the trip. This lovely byway which runs right around the edge of the reservoir, and it curves and it snakes around the edges, and you know, it's quite wide. It's kind of road width, but you can see it's definitely gravel. It's definitely a lot bumpier than it might look in this video, and kudos to Tony. He's not really someone who does a lot of off-road riding. He's never been fond of changing. I've tried to pass him a few tips. He stood up all the way around this like a trooper. Maybe he should bend his legs a little bit, but broadly, look at this. He's definitely on his feet, and he's keeping his eye up, and he did the whole thing. And it's a fair ride as well. You know, there's a good kind of 7 miles of this. And it's up and down. There's bits where it gets narrow, there's bits where it really gets bumpy. I always enjoy watching Tony ride through this, because he likes to avoid the puddles. He doesn't like to get his bike too dirty. Whereas if you watch me, I can't help myself. As a kid, I used to love jumping in puddles with my Wellingtons, so I think that's why I kind of don't care. And there was testament at the end of it, because my bike was absolutely filthy, and his bike looked like it had come out the showroom. He did manage to go through one puddle, and then there's a bit where it had flooded, where I had to kind of ride his bike through it, and you'll see that in a minute. But broadly, yeah, look at him, he's going around every single one. But this is great. It kind of rides up, and it goes up, and it goes up, and in a minute, off to the left hand side, there's a little bench, and I knew that was there, so I told Tony, so keep your eye out for that bench. When you see it, pull over. And he went straight past it, because he was focusing on what he was doing. But you don't hear it, but there's a little beep of the horn, and then we ride down there, we pulled up. And one of the things I carry in the panniers is I've got a little stove and some water and some milk and some tea bags. And so we stopped here, and we just basically stopped and had a cup of tea and took in the view. You can see it's a long way away from kind of most reality. And again, look, the skies are blue, nice little arty shot of the wing, reflection of the sky, just kind of showing off. And then this is us kind of having to have a cup of tea. Let's carry on and let's go the rest of the way. So Tony had opted to go that way, and he was having a little bit of trouble getting back on the path. Again, as I remind you, he's not somebody who rides off-road very regular. So you know, he's done amazingly well on this trip. I was really impressed with him. I have a little bit better, have a bit of experience, but by no means do I consider myself an expert. I am a beginner, I'm a noob, there's no two ways about it. But thankfully I've had a little bit of training, so I kind of know what you can get away with, even though we drive like at 15 miles an hour. But I think that's actually recommended. So yeah, instead of going the difficult way like Tony did, I went, oh, I'll just cut up this bit here, and then back onto the byway. And of course, because he's the guy who's learning, I'll let Tony go in front. That way he can set the pace, and I'm not too worried about keeping up with him, because like I say, I've got a bit more experience. But I just wanted to make sure he was kind of comfortable, and if he needed a rest, you know, he could pull over and just take a rest. But looking at this, I mean, you can tell you're out in the wilderness. It's fresh air. We saw a few people, couples walking the dogs, and there was a guy walking, there was a guy bicycled past us, and in a bit we get to the gate, which goes down to where there's a bit of a farm kind of in the middle. We saw some people going the other way, but broadly we had this place to ourselves, and when we were sat there having a cup of tea, we would have, like the only people in the world, just sat there enjoying the view. And it was nice and warm. Look at the sheep running away. Again, Tony's exhaust a little bit loud. I feel he should put the baffle in, but he's lost the clip, he tells me. I'm not entirely convinced. I think he likes the noise. But again, like dodging puddles. Not me. I like to go through them. And it's, like I say, it's not, if you're the beginner, this is actually quite easy, most of this. It's gravel, but it's fairly solid. You know, there's not much in the way of like massive ruts or anything like that. It's fairly well kept. I mean, I imagine it's used for people to get to the farm, and I think maybe, you know, the water board may go up there and check on the valley occasionally. So, you know, you'll easily do it on the Himalayan. You know, you don't need a complicated, super dedicated off-road bike for this. You could probably do it on something big and heavy like a GS. But, you know, we chose to take the Himalayans because we get a lot more mileage out of a tank of fuel. And it winds round, and it goes and it goes and it goes, and you can see over the top of the mountains, and you kind of twist left and right, and all this time you're surrounded by this beautiful Welsh countryside. It's absolutely stunning. And again, highly recommended. If you're out this way, please go and take a look at it. And even the bit when you get back on the road at the far end, it's like a lovely bit of road bettering. Sadly, the camera went flat, so we don't manage to capture it, but trust me, it was brilliant. And again, you can see this as we come to the farm. Suddenly, there was other people in the world. Quite surprised by it. I thought Tony was going to get off and open the gate, but he just let the other chap do it. The guy didn't seem too bothered. He was coming up, he was opening the gate anyhow because he's got to go through. And he quite nicely let us go through. And I think Tony was saying, yeah, we'll wait here while you go through. And the guy's like, nah, you can go past, go on, get out of the way. And we thought it was just this one guy. But I don't know if it was leading a procession or these other guys behind him were with him. There's a couple of bikes as well who kind of followed him through. Let's hope they all got permission. Here you go. Nice looking thing, that, isn't it? I don't know what it is, but it's good fun. And it selects little off-roady bikes for you. So again, you come down here, and this is really where the byway ends. Like I said, when you get to this bridge, you do need to have permission to go across it. And if you want that, you know, email the guys at Elan Valley Trust. I did. They got back to me pretty much the same day. Asked me for a few details, you know, registration plates, so they knew who we were. And then they sent me an email to show to any wardens to go, if you get stopped, just show them this, they'll know you've got permission. We did, so we went through the bridge, and it carries on. It does get a little bit rockier from this point on, but not massively so. And like I said, the only bit which was a bit challenging is the water crossing, which we come across with a little bit of a hill after it. And in a minute, that's going to go up, so I'll stop talking, and you'll be able to see my attempts at going across. What happened is, I'd actually gone across, and then Tony got stuck, and he let me take it across because he's a little bit nervous. Which, you know, again, he's a beginner, he's learning, so it's all kind of fine. Oh my god, he went through a puddle. I can't believe it. Here we go. Water crossing coming up.
Go on, Steve! Go! No! Go on, Steve! Go on! Brilliant! Fantastic!
That was me riding it through. And then we stopped, and then Tony had such a good time, and he enjoys the off-roading so much, he had to stop and kiss the ground. And then we went to Aberystwyth for the night, and then we'll move on to part 3, coming soon.